Hello and welcome to another ep of 21 Questions. My name is Mike. I run trivia shows. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Question 1. Nitrous oxide is also known as what kind of gas? It's laughing gas, and as far as I'm concerned, that is the only happy aspect of going to the dentist. Question 2. Do Brussels sprouts grow on a stalk, a vine, or underground? Brussels sprouts grow on a stalk. I hated them as a kid, and someone told me recently they're delightful if they're cooked nicely. So I've yet to be convinced or had that demonstrated. Question 3. In 1999, which former world champion boxer was named Sportsman of the Century by Sports Illustrated and Sports Personality of the Century by the BBC? That would be Muhammad Ali. Question 4 is a true or false in this podcast. Every single episode today is no different. True or false? America once had a $10,000 banknote. They actually did. That's true. It was withdrawn from circulation in 1969, but America once had a $10,000 banknote. Imagine losing it. Or going to the shop to buy a packet of chewing gum and go, "Oh, can you break this, mate?" Question 5. What's the highest score you can throw with a single dart in darts? Well, some people would think the bullseye, that's 50, but no, triple 20, 60, leading to 3 of those being 180. Question 6. Which character from the Muppets is a stuntman and in later episodes is in love with Camilla the chicken? Here's a hint. He's known as the Great Gonzo. He's the Great Gonzo. He's had an interesting history in the Muppets, been around a long time. At one point, he was in love with Miss Piggy, but he pursued her in a way that by modern standards would be considered quite creepy, but he eventually settled down with Camilla the chicken. No one really knows what kind of animal Gonzo is. He's sometimes described as a turkey or something similar, but he was also originally, I think, a freckle. Is that the term? Anyway, we'll move on. Question 7, we're talking famous sisters. Were the Bronte sisters A, a literary family known for their poems and their novels, or B, a Motown act from Detroit? The Bronte sisters all lived and died in the 1800s. There was Emily Bronte, Anne Bronte, and Charlotte Bronte, and I think it was Emily that wrote Wuthering Heights. Of course, that Margot Robbie has just done a movie version of. After question 7, we do the first clues for the Who Am I? Here we go. Who am I? I'm an English performer known for my comedy work, specifically in sitcoms, although I have performed in many movies, including as the voice of Zazu in The Lion King. I got my start on TV in Not the 9 O'Clock News. Do you know who that is yet? Doesn't matter if you don't, there's more clues coming up after question 14. For now though, question 8. Is Ho Chi Minh City in South Korea or Vietnam? Ho Chi Minh City is in Vietnam. It was known as Saigon prior to 1976. Question 9. Which actor linked the 80s movie Pretty in Pink and the TV shows Boston Legal and The Blacklist? That would be James Spader. Question 10. From which country's cuisine do we get Bratwurst? Bratwurst is a sausage from Germany. May I suggest you Google Germany's relationship with sausages. They are silly for them. They have sausages in their general expressions, like a German expression is, "It's all sausage to me," meaning I don't care. Very interesting. There's a heap of those, but that's one example. Question 11. True or false? The longest bone in the human body is the tibia. That one's actually false. The longest bone in the body is the femur. Question 12. Was the first explorer to circumnavigate the globe Captain James Cook, Vasco da Gama, or Ferdinand Magellan? Bit of history for you there. That's Ferdinand Magellan. Question 13. From there to movies. Which actor played Agent Clarice Starling in 1991's The Silence of the Lambs? Been thinking lately I'd like to watch this movie again. Jodie Foster played Clarice Starling, and she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for that role. Curiously, she was not the first choice to play Clarice. That role was turned down by Michelle Pfeiffer, who said that the material was too dark, and Meg Ryan, because at that time she said, I only make movies with Tom Hanks. Question 14. I made that part up. Question 14. In rhyming slang, what or who is the trouble and strife? I had to leave the rubber-dub early to go home to the trouble and strife. That's the wife. Excellent. More clues now for the Who Am I? It is the British sitcom actor, voice of Zazu in The Lion King, Who Am I? I'm a motoring enthusiast. I've written articles for motoring magazines and competed in a number of races and appeared on an episode of Top Gear. In 2011, I was involved in a car crash that ultimately led to the largest car insurance payout in British history ever. It was around £900,000 when I lost control of my McLaren and hit a tree. Now, it's worth mentioning that the McLaren that he rode off was one of only 64 ever made. I imagine the police were called, and that's good because, incidentally, final clue, this guy played a police officer in the sitcom The Thin Blue Line. Do you know who that is yet? More clues after question 20 if you do not. Question 15, here's a bit of science for you. How long does it take sunlight to reach the Earth? Is it 8 minutes? Is it 18 minutes? Is it 28 minutes? It is in fact 8 minutes, so 7.5 minutes ago the sun might have shut up shop and we wouldn't even know, but we will know soon. The Earth, by the way, is 150 million kilometres from the sun, so that's moving. Question 16. Which American actor, producer, screenwriter and director was born Mark Sinclair Vincent? The Vincent is the clue. That's Vin Diesel. Too Fast, Too Furious, baby. Question 17. Before the Gregorian calendar became the standard calendar used throughout the world, the calendar used was called the what? Was it A, the Julian, B, the James, or C, the John? It was the Julian calendar up to 46 BC, named after our old friend Julius Caesar. We've mentioned him on the podcast a few times now. Question 18, we're talking the running of the bulls. In the running of the bulls in Pamplona, I'm going to get in trouble from that Rachel girl from Canada again. How long is the course? Is it 826 metres, 1,826 metres, or 2,826 metres? This is a very obscure question, but it is question 18 towards the end of the podcast. I try to make them a little bit harder. It is 826 metres. Now, that's not as long as it could be, I suppose, but it's almost a kilometre and there's an angry bull chasing you. I think that's quite enough. Question 19 in this podcast is always a still alive or not so much. I give you a name, you tell me if you think that person is still alive or not so much. Today, Andrew Lloyd Webber, the famous composer. He's written 21 stage musicals, some of the biggest musicals of all time. Think Cats, think Phantom of the Opera, Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Is Andrew Lloyd Webber still alive or not so much? Andrew Lloyd Webber is still alive. He's only 78 years old. He'll be around for a long time yet. Question 20, music question. Which English music group was formed in 1967 and its name comes from the combination of the surnames of the bass guitarist and the drummer? That would be Fleetwood Mac. Mick Fleetwood on the drums, John McVie on bass. They put their names together, Fleetwood Mac. Final clues now for the Who Am I? In Kenya in 2001, the pilot of the plane I was travelling in fainted. I managed to keep the plane in the air for several minutes until he recovered. That won't help you much. I'd have thought it was interesting, but this will help you. I am best known for the TV show Blackadder and the character Mr. Bean, although I have said time and time again, I will never play Mr. Bean again. I am Rowan Atkinson. Rowan Sebastian Atkinson. Okay, that is 21 questions done. How'd you go with those? I would love to know what your score was. I often say, let me know what your score was. A lot of people tell me 18, 19, the occasional 20. No one's ever come on and said I got all 21, but I'm sure someone has. Time now for the player questions. You have a permanent invitation to send me a trivia question that I will use within this section of the show anytime you like. I'll send you a shout out, I'll ask you a question, and we'll find out if the group knows it. Last episode, Jason sent me, what is the name that the driver of the cart sits in harness racing? And the answer is a sulky. S-U-L-K-Y, a sulky. I think I did know that on some level. This episode, Gail has sent me, what was the original name of the bloodhound breed of dog? Obviously, it's not the bloodhound, so I absolutely don't know, Gail. Great question. Thank you for sending that in. If you'd like to send me a question or any feedback on the podcast whatsoever, 2 ways you can get it to me. You can go to my Facebook page, 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe, and send me a message there. Or you can email me direct, mike@triviatribe.com.au. I will acknowledge every message that I get so you know that I've seen it. I'm considering whatever it is you had to say. Okay, thank you very much for listening. This podcast comes out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Meet me back here in a couple of days. We'll do it all over again. My name is Mike van Acker. I love you. Catch you next time.